Hi, it's Julie with the Edmonton Mennonite Center for Newcomers. Today we're going to be starting our video series, and we've got our first question from a former student of mine, Callis.
Julie, how do you walk safely on snow and ice?
This is a very good question. As somebody who was born and raised in Canada, and specifically the Canadian prairies, where the weather gets very intense in the wintertime, I can tell you that even I have slipped when I haven't been paying attention. So hopefully what we're going to be doing with a few little tips here today is showing you some ways that you can keep an eye open for some common sort of problems on the spring sidewalks and prevent maybe a slip and fall. I had a student very recently, his family is from Nigeria, and he told me about how his son, who had never seen snow before, was outside kind of running around and playing, and unfortunately did slip and hurt himself. So by learning a few things to look out for, hopefully you can avoid that. People should be clearing the snow and ice from the sidewalks in front of their homes and businesses, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So we have to really be aware and pay attention to when there's an uncleared icy sidewalk. This is an example of a sidewalk that hasn't been cleared of snow in a while. It went through a cycle of warm weather where it melted, but then it got colder again and it froze, and this happened a few times. All these footprints now are made of ice, and it's very uneven and difficult to walk on, even when you're trying to be careful. Here, you're going to really need to slow down and watch where you step. Now that things are getting a little warmer outside and we're seeing some melting, we're going to talk a little bit about what happens when water freezes back onto the sidewalk. Here is a sidewalk that is actually covered in a thin layer of ice. In the upper left-hand corner, you can actually see air bubbles, which means there's water trapped between the ice and the sidewalk. Here we have kind of plain sidewalk, easy to walk on. Then you get into the ice, very slippery, very difficult to walk on. The last thing we're going to look at are deep slush puddles. Slush is a mixture of ice, snow, and water. This mixture builds up in lower areas of sidewalks and roads when it isn't quite cold enough to freeze completely, but it isn't warm enough to melt completely either. Slush puddles are where all of the water that's melting kind of collects in certain areas, and then it freezes and melts and freezes. This area is always a lot deeper than you think it's going to be, so avoid it and go around. Well, that's it for today. I hope you found those hints helpful. We will see you again soon where we'll be answering more questions. Have a good day and stay safe.